Halo Combat Evolved Remake just got absolutely destroyed by one of its original creators. Jaime Griesemer, the guy who actually designed the first Halo game, went public with some brutal criticism about what Halo Studios is doing to his masterpiece. And honestly, after digging into what he said, I completely understand why the community's losing their minds right now. Alright, so here's the situation. Halo Studios announced Campaign Evolved, which is their complete remake of the original Halo CE built in Unreal Engine 5. They brought in content creators to play a demo of Silent Cartographer, and footage started hitting the internet. Most people were hyped. Better graphics, updated visuals, the whole package. But then, Jaime Griesemer saw it, and he absolutely did not hold back. For anyone who doesn't know, Griesemer was the lead designer on Halo Combat Evolved. He also worked on Halo 2 and Halo 3 as design lead. This guy literally built the encounters, placed every enemy, designed the weapon sandbox from scratch. When he talks about Halo CE, he's not just some random critic. He made the damn game. Griesemer's first major complaint was about level design changes. In the original game, there's this section where you encounter hunters. Griesemer intentionally placed rocks in the path, so you couldn't just drive the warthog through and skip the entire fight. You had to get out and face them on foot. That was the design philosophy. That was the challenge he wanted players to experience. In the remake, those rocks are completely gone. Instead, there are breakable crates. You can literally just smash through them with the warthog and bypass the encounter entirely. Griesemer called this out directly, saying, quote, "You aren't supposed to be able to take the warthog up to steamroll the hunters. I intentionally placed rocks in the way so you had to fight them on foot. When you can just smash the crates out of the way, it wrecks the encounters." That's a pretty harsh take from someone who built the game from the ground up, but he wasn't finished. He also pointed out that they added trees in areas that were previously wide open, which fundamentally changes the flow of combat and vehicle movement. Specifically, he mentioned the famous woohoo jump segment, where they placed trees in the landing area, which he straight up called lame. His comparison was brutal. He said the remake is like a dance remix of a classic song that skips the intro and bridge and just dumps the chorus over and over again. You're getting the recognizable parts that people remember, but you're losing all the nuance and structure that made the original actually great. The biggest controversy by far is Sprint. Halo Studios added Sprint to Campaign Evolved as an optional feature. You can toggle it on or off in the settings. Sounds like a reasonable compromise, right? Not according to Griesemer. He said, making Sprint optional means the developers have, quote, abandoned your post, thrown up your hands, and admitted you have no vision. That's an incredibly strong statement. His argument is that if you're going to add Sprint, you need to redesign absolutely everything around it. The maps, the encounters, the weapon balance, enemy placement, literally everything. You can't just slap it in as an option and pretend that solves the problem. Griesemer actually wrote an entire thread about whether Halo should have Sprint. His position is that the question itself is absurd, because game mechanics don't have inherent moral value. But what matters is how Sprint fundamentally disrupts the core gameplay feel of the original. He argues that Sprint breaks mission pacing and destroys the sense of exploring a mysterious environment that made the original so special. And honestly, he's got a solid point here. The original Halo CE was meticulously designed without Sprint. Movement speed, weapon ranges, enemy AI behavior, all of it was balanced around a specific player movement speed. If you add Sprint, even as an optional feature, you're fundamentally changing how the game plays. Some encounters become way easier, some become significantly harder. The entire pacing shifts. The problem is that Halo Studios is trying to appeal to both old-school fans who want the original experience and new players who expect modern shooter mechanics. By making Sprint optional, they're essentially admitting they can't commit to either vision. That's what Griesemer means when he says they've abandoned their post. There's also been significant controversy around the Unreal Engine 5 implementation itself. Digital Foundry analyzed the reveal footage and pointed out some concerning technical issues with the rendering and lighting systems. Fans have complained that the lumen lighting effects feel overwhelming and create artifacts that make the game look less like Halo and more like a generic Unreal Engine 5 tech demo. Some community members noticed that certain models appear to be reused directly from Halo Infinite, which raises questions about how much original work is actually going into this remake versus just porting assets into a new engine. The visual effects are so heavy that they're drowning out the classic Halo atmosphere that made the original so iconic. There's also this weird technical setup where Campaign Evolved uses a hybrid engine approach. The visuals are running on Unreal Engine 5, but the gameplay code is apparently based on a modified Halo Reach engine. Halo Studios says this is to preserve the authentic Halo feel, but it's an unusual approach that's causing debate about whether the gameplay is actually being faithfully preserved or if it's just going to feel like Reach with better graphics. Here's another thing that has the community absolutely furious. Campaign Evolved doesn't have multiplayer. It's campaign only. For a massive portion of the fanbase, that's a complete deal breaker. Halo's multiplayer is legendary. The original Halo CE had split screen and LAN multiplayer that literally defined an entire generation of gaming. Now, Halo Studios says they're focusing exclusively on the campaign experience and that multiplayer is already available in the Master Chief Collection. But that's not really the point fans are making. People wanted to see what Halo CE multiplayer would look like completely rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5 with modern graphics and physics. They're not getting that experience. Some fans see this as a straight-up cost-cutting move. Others think it's a massive missed opportunity. Either way, it's a major disappointment for a huge portion of the community who grew up on Halo multiplayer. The fact that they're charging full price for a campaign-only remake has people questioning whether this is actually worth the investment. There were also some pretty serious rumors floating around about generative AI being used in the remake's development. Fans were genuinely worried that Halo Studios was using AI to generate assets or design elements instead of having actual human artists do the creative work. Halo Studios and Xbox insiders pushed back really hard on this narrative. They clarified that AI is only used as a workflow tool, similar to how Photoshop uses AI features for things like content-aware fill. The actual creative work, the art direction, the design decisions, that's all done by human beings. But the fact that this even became a controversy shows how incredibly sensitive fans are about preserving the integrity of the original game. Griesemer also questioned the entire purpose behind this remake. He asked whether it was driven by pure nostalgia, an attempt to bring in completely new players, or just a way to keep a large art team busy while the studio figures out what their next move is. That's a pretty cynical take, but it reflects a real concern that's spreading through the community. Is this remake actually for longtime fans who want a faithful recreation of the original experience? Or is it for new players who expect modern gameplay mechanics like sprint and updated controls? Halo Studios seems to be trying to please both groups simultaneously, and Griesemer's criticism suggests they might end up pleasing neither. Not everyone agrees with his assessment, though. Marcus Lehto, who literally co-created Halo with Bungie, has been way more positive about the remake. He called it gorgeous and said it's what they wish they could have built back in 2001 with the technology available. So there's definitely a split among the original developers about this project. So where does this actually leave us? Campaign Evolved is still about a year away from release. Halo Studios has time to address some of these concerns. But the question is, will they? The community's watching closely, and original developers are speaking out publicly. This remake could either be an incredible celebration of a classic game, or it could become a cautionary tale about changing things that didn't need to be changed. What do you think? Are Griesemer's criticisms valid, or is he being too protective of the original? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more Halo news and gaming leaks, make sure you're subscribed, because I've got way more coverage coming. I'll catch you in the next one.